In this class we're going to look at planning and look at some of the ideas associated with planning. First of all, let's look at management and planning, and let's look at the role of management in planning. First of all, it falls to management to set out the organizational goals. What's the business aiming to do or aiming to achieve? So it's important that management make a clear statement as to what are the objectives or goals, or if you like aims. I'm using all of the words interchangeably here. They do mean slightly different things, but what are the organization's goals? What are they aiming at? What's the business trying to achieve? And then the management must set out a strategy to achieve the goals. How will the goals be achieved? Thirdly, developing a comprehensive set of plans to integrate and coordinate organizational work. It's not just setting out the strategy to achieve the goals, but it must set out a comprehensive set of plans to integrate and coordinate all of the work within the business, so that the different functional departments, the research and development, the marketing, the finance, the human resources, all of those individual parts are aiming in the same direction, and all of the individual parts understand the overall objective of the business. So it's the managerial function to achieve these three parts. Now, the advantage of planning, well, it provides direction for the business. Without planning, the business will drift. It needs to aim at something. It needs to aim at some objective. So it needs to say, well, the objective is to grow by 3% next year, or the objective is to launch a new product in 2 years' time, or whatever. So it gives the business direction. It reduces uncertainty as a consequence. The business may be beset by uncertainty. There's all sorts of uncertainty facing the business as it is. Market uncertainty, what the competitors are doing, or changes in tastes or fashions or trends within society. There's uncertainty created by new technology that's emerging all the time, and international trade patterns, and the government may create uncertainty about its taxation plans or its government spending plans. There are all sorts of uncertainties in the market, but at least having an objective reduces one of the uncertainties. The business itself, it knows where it wants to be, and that is a part of reducing the uncertainty. A plan also can lead to a reduction in waste and redundancy. If there is a plan, and if all of the departments are aiming in the same direction, then the resources can be targeted at that objective. So they know what machinery, exactly what machinery they need. They know what functions they need within the business. They know what personnel they need. They know what raw materials are required. So it reduces waste. It reduces buying in general, or buying in general staff, hiring general staff. What they perhaps need are to hire specialists. So it reduces waste. It reduces redundancy in terms of the usage of machinery and space, office space perhaps. It reduces costs by having a specific target. And because the business knows where it's aiming, it sets standards for controlling the business. It knows if it's moving in the right direction. It can monitor its performance. It looks at its budgets to see if there's overspending or underspending. It looks at the scheduling of the project to see where it's got to. If by a certain date it hasn't hit where the schedule suggested it should have been, there can be an investigation into why, what went wrong, why is the business underperforming. So it sets standards for controlling the business, and these are important advantages of the planning framework. Now the purpose of planning, well, simply the purpose of planning is to yield higher profits in the future and get a better return on the assets. The purpose could be to grow the business and to sustain itself in a time of turbulence in the marketplace or turbulence in markets. But the overall purpose, many people would contend, is to make higher profits and make a better return on the assets. But, as I said, other positive financial results could flow as well, and maybe also part of the purpose. For example, better cash flow, better return on other assets, perhaps assets that are not in the front line, perhaps the premises in general, a better return on those. There are many aspects to the business, and if you consider the business as being made up from components, it's looking at the return on each of the components, and better financial results will flow from the better utilization of all of those resources. The quality of planning and implementation affects the performance more than the extent of the planning. The quality of planning is all important. Having a large plan that's not properly implemented or thought out is not really a good idea. Whereas having a specific plan that is high quality, well thought out and capable of implementation, that is a preferable route to go. So it's the quality of the planning that's important, not the quality and the quality of the planning and its implementation that are important, not the having a big plan that's not going anywhere, that's not doing anything. It's too big, it's too complex, it can't be implemented. That's, generally speaking, a waste of time and resources. Now the goals and objectives of the plan. Well, let's start with the goals. These are the desired outcomes for individuals, groups, or the entire organization. So it's important to specify what are the outcomes that are required from the plan. What do individuals need to achieve? What do groups need to achieve? What does the whole organization need to achieve? So the goals are the objectives. It's what the organization is aiming at, or what the organization is aiming to achieve. The goals provide direction. Without the goals, the business will drift, as I said earlier. And it also provides performance evaluation criteria. In other words, the business can assess whether it's doing a good job or it's been inefficient or there's room for improvement someplace. It measures performance against some criteria. Then we've got the plans. These are documents that outline how goals are to be accomplished. These are written documents that itemize what is to be achieved. So the plans are clearly understood by the managers and by all responsible for their implementation. So they are documents that outline how goals are to be accomplished. The plans also describe how resources are to be allocated and establish activity schedules. The plans show how the resources should be awarded to different functional areas, and show how the activity schedules should be drawn up. And it's without schedules there is no proper sequencing of the tasks, and without the schedules there can be confusion in production. So it's important that each task follows on from its predecessor, that it's a logical sequence. So the plans indicate these. Now, that's all I need to say on this topic, so I'm going to leave it at that and say thank you for watching.